Okay, in this video presentation I'm going to show you real quick how to create image buttons for Silverlight 2 using Blend 2, and I'm going to show two methods for this. One method is using template binding to control the image, and well, I guess the other way is basically using template binding too. Let me just show you real quick what we've got here. This is what we're going to build, is some buttons that have some different images in them. Get rid of that. Okay, we're going to start a new project. Name it whatever you want. We'll call this Nothing One. I guess first thing we should do, let's add a couple images. So we'll add existing item. I've got some icon images out here on my desktop that we'll add to the project. Going to draw a button out. We're going to just start with a default button and we'll modify its template. So we'll go Edit Control Parts, Edit a Copy. Name it whatever you want. We'll call this one Button Style 1. And I guess I'm going to start out showing you the more complicated way to do it. It's not that much more complicated, just a little bit. So let's dig into it. We've got a content presenter here used to display text. This is the key to what we're doing. I'm going to drag an icon out here onto the stage. We've got our image element here now. And we're going to drag and drop that right inside the content presenter. You can see the text is gone and now we've got an image there. Let's take a look at the code here, do a little split screen. And you can see here it is, we've got the image inside the content presenter. And the source of the image, it's got its path here. But we're going to change that to template binding. So we'll go brackets, template binding. And we want our template binding set to the content field. Normally this is where the text of the button would be displayed, but we want it set for that image. So you can see that our image is now gone because it doesn't know where the path is because we have not set it on the outside here. So let's go back outside. We'll return out to our main page. We've got our button selected. Over here in the Properties panel, in the Common Properties, you can see where the default button used to have the text that said button here. Instead, we're going to put our image path there, which our image is named icon1.png. I hit enter or tab and there it is. Pretty cool. But now we have no text on our button. I kind of liked that when we had text. We'll go back and fix that in a minute though. So we've got button 1. We'll just name it so we can keep track here. I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to control click and drag. You could also just copy and paste over here. So we've got our new button. We'll call that button 2. And with it selected, we'll come over here to our content field where we've got template binding hooked up, and we can tell that we've got that because this button is white. We'll delete that. It's not icon 1 now. We'll call it icon 2, and you can see that that changes it. Change the image right there. So let's go back inside real quick. I'm just going to pretty this up a little bit. I'm going to select the content presenter with its image, move it over like that because I like the way that looks. And we're going to add some text back in here. There's two ways that you can do it. Well, maybe there's even more, but the two main ways that you could do it is the content presenter, which is normally what you would find in here, but I'm going to use the text box. So just draw out a text box here, resize it a little bit, make it centered. And here's why I use the text box, is because you can animate properties like the color of the text. I'm going to make our text blue. And we're going to say that on mouse over, that the whole grid, the that contains all the parts of the button is going to grow. We'll set that over here in the transform panel. 1.2 on the x-axis and 1.2 on the y-axis. And we'll add just a default of 0.2 in our states. Let's go ahead and go back out to the main stage here. We've got button 1 selected. And how do we change the text here? I forgot to set that up. Let's go back into the button. We've got text block selected. And normally this template binding would be set to content, but we're using that for the image. So here's another field that we could use. It's the tag field. And let's go back. So we've got that template binding set, so let's go back out to the main stage and find that text, that tag field where we can enter our text. And it's right here. If we expand the common properties, you see that tag field. And I'm going to add a name for the button. We'll call it Internet Exploder. There it is. We'll select button 2. We'll give that one some text. What should we call it? Media player. There it is. Let's go ahead and test the solution by hitting F5. See what we've got here. They work. I'm going to show you another way to do this real quick. That's maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit easier. We'll draw a new button here. And in our project panel, I'm going to drag and drop an image that we're going to work with. So you can see we've got our button and we've got our image. I'm going to drag this image inside the button, because a button can be used as a container also. And you can see that what it's done here is basically what we did by hand. It's replaced the content presenter text with an image inside the content presenter. And the cool thing about this is, let's go back to our properties panel here, is that now we can use the drop-down thing here. So if you're working with a lot of images and maybe they're in subdirectories, so you've got a longer path, this could be a quicker, faster way to go. But you see here, we try to move our image around. It won't move. That's because it's being controlled by the content presenter inside this button. So if we want to modify that, we have to create a new style of this button. So we'll just edit a copy. We'll call this one button style 2. And so we can get in here, move that content presenter around. I'm going to add a text box. Do what we did before. We'll leave it blue. We'll leave it black text this time though, and we'll do that same thing with the template binding. I'm going to set it to tag instead of content. So here it is as tag. And as long as we're in here, let's give it a little mouse over animation. Got mouse over selected, transform 1.2, 1.2, the default transition of 0.2. Go back out to the main stage here. Got our button selected. Let's find that tag field. And you can see there it is, the content field, how it just kind of took care of it. It knows that it's doing some template binding of its own. In here, we'll call it Internet Exploder 2, and here it is. Let's go ahead and copy and paste that button, so we've got a new button, and we'll change the image. Probably should have just done this first so you can see. We'll change the image to image number 2. There it is. Change the text to media player 2, and there we go. We'll hit build. see what this looks like.